Things you would never bring up in therapy, you could bring up here.
Should true love be easy, or should it take work?
Should love be easy, or should it take work? And I know you probably know the answer to this, but here's my short answer. The right love isn't effortless, but it isn't exhausting either. The right love isn't effortless, but also it shouldn't be exhausting. It shouldn't be years and years of work and constant work and so much work that you can't find joy in the relationship, right?
Is it true that you feel it when you found the one?
Ooh, great question. First, I'm not a big fan of the term "the one." I think it's dangerous. I like the one in front of you. That's what I like. So that is the one. Who you choose to love is the one. Because if you really believe that there's only one person for you to be with in this world, you're going to be looking over the fence a lot when there's conflict, right? And so it can be a way out. It can be just a term that gets you to see if the grass is greener. And I think it's very, very programming. So there is no one. There's the one in front of you you choose to love. Okay. And then as far as do you feel it? Do you know? I think yes. And I think it comes in moments. I think it isn't as obvious as we would like to think or have been programmed to think with rom-coms and, Disney movies and stuff. I don't think it's eyes meet across the room and you have a gut feeling. I mean, sure, maybe that's possible, but I think for most of us, we choose to love someone, and in moments, we know this person is the one that we are supposed to be with and that we want to be with, and also that we're going to learn and grow the most with because of the moments, because of the moment after, conflict, there was healthy repair, because of the moment when you see that this person held a safe space for you, because a moment, that your partner brought you something home from lunch. It could be small moments, big moments, meaningful moments, corrective experience moments. But I think we know because we see them in moments.
Can anxious and avoidant ever fully understand each other and live relaxed?
First, I want to say when it comes to anxiously attached and avoidant and everything in between, there's a spectrum, right? You're not just like black or white. You tend to lean toward. So, of course, someone who leans toward anxious attachment can love and build a life with someone who leans toward avoidantly attached. And as you guys love each other and understand each other better, both of you start to swim toward being securely attached. That said, being anxiously attached and being avoidant, you guys will activate each other. Like the anxious grabbing the avoidant's leg for dear life will activate the avoidant to push the anxious away. And I think that that's what's meant to happen. That we are supposed to activate each other, but hopefully loving each other is a daily choice, and you wanting to work through the activation is where you grow and you change. And through that, both people start to become more securely attached because of the lessons they learned from all the activation. Does that make sense? But anyway, I think we're very fast to label, like, are you anxiously attached? Are you avoidant? Are you disorganized? And there's levels. There's a spectrums, right?
Why do we have the same argument?
Because the argument isn't about what you guys are really fighting about. It's about what's underneath. It's a need not being met, a wound being activated, a pattern being replayed, right? You recycle the same fight because you're stuck in a loop. And the loop is people don't feel heard, understood, seen. People are blaming, pointing fingers, right? So you dance the same steps, stepping on each other's feet, and you're hoping for a different song to break it. You don't need comebacks for it to be right. You need a flashlight and curiosity over defense. You need the courage to ask yourself, what's really happening now for me, and what's happening underneath, and what can I do to process and take ownership. You need to try to understand before trying to be understood. Fights are rarely about what we're literally fighting about. It's about the stuff, the current that's happening underneath. And that's what you have to explore.
He says he has a deep emotional connection with me, but he won't commit. Why?
So that may be why he can't commit, because he has a deep emotional connection to you. And behind that, there is fear, there is uncertainty, there is maybe for the first time, him feeling like this could be real, right? Or he could be full of shit. I don't know, but I'm just saying that both could be true. Play it out. I always tell anyone who is going through dating and the rocky roller coaster of the, does this person like me, not like me? Play it out. It will all unfold. You will have answers. And if you don't, then there's your answer.
He loves me too, but is not ready. He's scared of a healthy relationship. Never been in one.
Most of us have not, because anything that we have not done, especially when it comes to something like that, can be terrifying. But maybe you could give him this video, because I want to remind him what's on the other side of a healthy relationship, and that is your body, not your mind, experiencing something corrective, which then will rewire you. And in the process of existing in a healthy container, unlike the ones that we had while growing up, you heal. Not actually knowledge and knowing what is healthy, but actually being in something healthy, right? It's not something imagined, but it is your body sitting in healthy, which can be extremely uncomfortable. But that is where not only revelations, but healing takes place. And I gotta say, if you've only been in unhealthy relationships, to sit in something healthy in itself is going to be a challenge. That might be partly why, I was going to say he, but hopefully he's watching this. You are scared. Do this not for just a relationship, not for your partner, but for yourself, to give yourself a new imprint and definition, standard of what healthy could look like.
What do you do when you find your partner's changing? It's not what I signed up for.
Listen, we're in constant change, and who you started loving may not feel like the same person, partly because you're not the same person. If you change, the way you experience someone changes, right? Especially if they haven't changed. You're not static, neither is your partner. The person you fell in love with, say 5 years ago, or even last summer, may not be the same person standing in front of you today. And you're not the same person either. Relationships are built on a moving foundation. Sometimes you both grow in the same direction, and sometimes you don't. That doesn't automatically make anyone the villain. It just means your map has changed, and the road you once shared may not take you where you need to go anymore. So it's a conversation, it's a check-in, right? And here's the hard truth. Love isn't just about who was meant for you. It's about whether you can still love who they've become and who you've become and are becoming, without forcing either of you to shrink to fit an old version of you and or the relationship. That's today's reminder about love.
My best friend is a girl. He tells her everything. Is there space for me?
Let me ask you this. Do you want the same space, as you say, with his guy friends? Is there a space for you there? Or are you saying this because his friend is female and you feel some kind of competitive thing going on? Or you feel like because she is female that there's a threat there? You know, if she is in fact just a friend, this person is a person, and it shouldn't matter what gender the person is, And I think in a lot of relationships, it's like, well, I will allow you to have a friend who's the opposite sex based on these circumstances. And I think that's it's grabby, and it's controlling, and it can create cracks in trust. Now, if there's been things that have broken your trust, that's different. But if you feel like you need some space in their friendship because of someone being the same sex as you, if you're feeling jealousy, or if you're feeling these insecurities or threats, these are things to talk about and for you to process, because we are allowed to have friends who are just friends, and it doesn't matter what gender they are.
I struggle with my partner's past patterns, like sleeping with a longtime friend, not just RJ. Is it normal?
Generally speaking, I don't think it's fair to hold a partner's history, to hold it against them, right? So whether it's relationships, their sexual history, but you said it's a pattern, right? So if it's a pattern, is that pattern happening in this relationship? So bring it back to your current relationship. If it's not happening in this relationship, then that is the past, and that may activate you, but it's something you guys talk about and something you have to work through. It's actually a privilege for us to know our partner's history. They are trusting us with their story. You can't then take it and hold it over their head or use it against them. That would not be fair, and it will also break trust. If this is a pattern that is happening in your relationship, right? If there's something in your relationship that's happening that is unhealthy or toxic or damaging, and your partner has a pattern of doing this, I would focus more on your relationship and how it's affecting your relationship. And yes, you're considering that it's been a pattern because it's happened in the past, but you're not using the past as leverage, if that makes sense, right? Think about yourself and all the stuff that you have done in the past, and imagine if your partner uses that against you. That wouldn't be fair, right? So bring it to your relationship and in the here and now today.
How do I get past retroactive jealousy?
Retroactive jealousy of your partner's sexual history or things that happened before you met your partner. It feels like it's about them, but it's actually about you, who they were with, how many partners they had. It's not about that. It's about the story that you start telling yourself when you think about your partner's past, right? It's beneath the jealousy is the usually a wound that predates the relationship. Maybe it's a little boy who didn't feel chosen, or a teen who never felt good enough, or the girl who learned that love was conditional. Whatever it was, there's stuff happening underneath. Whatever that wound was, right? That gets triggered, not created by the partners or your partner's past. So ask yourself, what story am I making up when I think about my partner's past? Like they, like them more, or my partner's ex was better in bed, or whatever it is. Anything that makes you feel like you don't measure up, right? What feeling lives underneath that story? Rejection, shame, fear, because that's what this is about. And this is, of course, the real work, to notice when you're not reacting to facts, but in old pain in a new costume.
Thinking of trying again with my ex-wife, but maybe it's only because I see her with other people now.
Here's my question to you, and I think the biggest, most important question you should ask yourself, if you are considering a round two, and it's not who they're sleeping with currently or what they're doing, or if you can move past that, it's actually, what's going to be different this time? What's going to be different? How are you guys going to show up to the relationship differently so the same thing doesn't happen? Because I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter how much time has passed. It doesn't matter. We've been with different people, or realized that there aren't many fish in the sea, or whatever revelations you have. If you have not changed from the inside out, if you have not gained awareness tools, if you have not gone on any kind of healing journey or taken ownership, the plane's going to go down again. You know, it doesn't matter what people look like or how long it's been or how much people miss each other or who they've been with. If you want to do a round two people have to come to the table as different people from the inside out. And so the relationship dynamic is different because that's what's important. The relationship dynamic will be the same because tracks were laid, and what didn't work before will still be there unless you lay new tracks. And in order to lay new tracks, two people have to show up in a very different way.